Hi guys,
Hi everyone,
my name is Sameer Gupta
and I'm Dr. Sonia Lal Gupta,
and I'm a cardiologist,
and I'm a neurologist.
and we are starting our first live stream for the Voice of Health page. This is something we envisioned a few years ago. Basically, an initiative to try and improve health awareness, make people more aware of what's going on, and that kind of stuff.
So, so today we are here to answer any questions that you might have. As you know, we are going through this huge global pandemic all over the world, and COVID-19, I think, has coronavirus has taken over, as we all say. India is in a lockdown, Italy is in a bad shape, Spain is in a bad shape, UK is getting into a bad shape. I mean, America, good lord, everybody is in a pretty bad shape right now. So I think, whatever questions you have, we'll try our best to answer them for you, and hopefully demonstrate some techniques on how you can actually, take care of yourself and practice hand hygiene and everything else.
Yeah. So
Just give us a few moments. I think this is our first Facebook Live, so we are just understanding how this works for Voice of Health.
yeah. So yeah.
Okay. So we have our.
We have a first question. I live in an apartment from Divya Nair. Hi Divya, thank you for logging in. The question is, I live in an apartment flat that has open balconies during the day, during the daytime a lot of pigeons are sitting in the balcony. Let's see if I can try and open this question.
Okay.
Yep. Should I be careful while coming in and out of the balcony or touching things in the balcony? So do you want to answer that, Sonia?
So, I mean, technically the coronavirus does not spread from pigeons. So I think the pigeons per se, you don't have to be worried about the pigeons as such. That being said, anytime you go out, just in general, I think it's not even about the coronavirus at this point. I think
Yeah.
that's a general rule. Anytime you go out, anytime you go into the balcony, even though the pigeon, shit or the pigeon, feces may not have the coronavirus, it can have a bunch of other viruses and bacteria.
Yeah.
So it's very important each time you go into the balcony, when you come in, definitely wash your hands with soap and water, at least for 20 seconds. So I think that is
Yeah.
extremely important.
Yeah,
to do
that's
that.
it. And and you have to go to the balcony. I mean, if you have a balcony with the lockdown, we are seeing all these mental illnesses come up. So it's good to go out, get some fresh air, go out, spend some time. I think one of our Pratik Vipin Garg, hi Pratik, he's asked us that what should we do to get vitamin D, and going into the balcony is actually one of them, right? I mean, you go to the balcony and you get some sun, get some vitamin D.
So if you have the opportunity that you can actually go on the terrace, and you're fortunate enough to do that, then of course try to get some sun exposure if you can. Or unfortunately that's not possible because of the lockdown, and maybe you're in a place where you cannot access the sun that easily, then of course there are vitamin D rich foods, like of
Yeah.
course there's
The
fish.
most actually it's more a non-veg food.
yeah it's actually
It's not much
fish,
veg.
and of course you find it in milk products as well. So those are a couple of things you can. Now if you're a vegetarian on top of that, then unfortunately at this point maybe vitamin D supplementation might be the way to go. But of course, before you take vitamin D supplementation just like that, you have to ensure that you get your levels checked, right? So if you know that if you know already that you have low vitamin D, in that scenario, then yes, you might want to take.
Yeah. Actually, I was reading the study where vitamin D, like 80% of people in India are deficient in vitamin D, right?
Almost 80% of India is deficient in vitamin D, and I think a big reason for that is actually people avoid the sun in India in the first place, and I think that being said, that's why it's extremely important to get your levels checked, because a lot of people have symptoms from it. But I think that's a great question, because that's going to be a really big concern in the coming days, especially I think for children, when they'll be stuck at home and they're not going to get that vitamin D dose.
Yeah, and actually mental health is actually becoming a big problem.
Yeah, mental health as well.
Mental health, we're seeing all these suicides coming out from across the world. We heard something in Germany, something in New York. People are just not used to the lockdown. They're getting too stressed with the lockdown and stuff like that. So mental health is actually something which is really coming up. It's important. I hope all of you are, able to utilize your time properly and, do things to to keep your mental health sane. You spend time with family.
Absolutely. I think what everybody has to realize is the lockdown, yes, it's annoying, it's boring to be at home, but at this point, this is the way. We've seen it in countries that,
Yeah.
went into lockdown soon enough.
Yeah.
They were able to get out of it. Korea is an example. Singapore, they took the steps right away, and we are able to see that the cases did not go up the way they went up in Italy,
Yeah.
Spain, or America. And in the US, even now, people are not practicing proper lockdown, and you can see that a lot of cases are being diagnosed. So, yes, it's annoying, but be thankful that the lockdown is there. So, let's take the next question.
Yeah. So somebody's asked us over here that do you think India is actually equipped to handle the outbreak, and will it all go well? And then Bonnie has asked us the question. I heard that having vitamin C tablets helps in preventing COVID-19. Is that true?
So for vitamin C, actually, so there's per se there's no data, right? But the fact is that antioxidants, in general, good nutrition helps build your immunity, and vitamin C plays an important role. Vitamin C in general has been seen, especially for people who have colds,
Yeah.
to actually help in recovery. So of course, people can't take very high doses of vitamin C, but if you want to take, smaller doses of vitamin C, as in terms of even having citrus fruits like oranges, lemon, that's a good source of getting vitamin C. So actually, it might be a good idea to add a little vitamin C in your diet, apart from the fruits and vegetables that you can get.
Actually,
in
there
the
was a
market.
study which has been done there have been multiple studies which have been done which have asked, like vitamin C, is it actually helpful or not? And, they give actually IV vitamin C. They're giving IV vitamin C to see if does it help with immunity and do you get better and stuff. So I think there are all these trials, but, the thing is vitamin C is fairly harmless. You have vitamin C, and you can't overdose on vitamin C unless you're having like huge amounts. You just pee it out. It's a water soluble vitamin, so you just pee it out. So vitamin C per se is it's fairly harmless to have.
No, absolutely. So I think it's a good idea to add vitamin C into your routine to increase your immunity. And then we had another question before that. Do you think India is equipped to handle the outbreak? Will all go well? Well, let's hope for the best. I think India is trying its best, of course, with a population of 1.3 billion.
Yeah.
Things will not always go as planned, and things will keep on, you'll keep on hearing about episodes that things are maybe not going so well. I think India knows somewhere as a country that our healthcare system is not equipped to handle this if this gets out of control, if we get into stage 3 officially. So at this point, I think we're trying to do the best we can. In fact, today we read about having those isolation units in the railway.
Yeah, I think, and I actually wrote about this on Twitter and other platforms that I think India is the king of jugaad, as I say, right? At jugaad, I think they built a 1,000 bedded hospital in 2 weeks, and here we took our coaches which are not being used and just made them into isolation wards. I think that's fantastic. That's brilliant that we are able to do that and make them into isolation. And the best part is these trains can go wherever you want it to go, right? I mean, they can go to Bihar, they can go to Karnataka, they can go anywhere. So I think it's pretty impressive what's happening.
Absolutely. Next question we have is from Ashita. Any specific recommendations to improve my mental health? So, as Sameer mentioned, yes, staying in a lockdown, staying at home, it gets extremely boring, and people start to get depressed by not interacting, with the outside world. But remember, take it in a positive way as well. The world, you're always so busy, and finally people are getting time to actually spend time at home, spend time with your family. Take out time to do the activities or the hobbies, that you can do indoors, of course. Read, exercise at home, do yoga, meditation, and try to keep a positive outlook. See, the point here is, it's going to end. It's not something that is going to go on forever.
Hopefully, it's not going to go on forever.
No, of course.
There will be an end date.
Yeah,
We will all live.
I mean, China is an example where they've been able to, handle this effectively. Yes, we're still seeing positive cases, but now it's coming into full flow. So there itself, we have a proof that it's going to get over.
I actually
I think we're missing the questions. So I think
we do. I read this very interesting about mental health. I read this very interesting recommendation, which I kind of believe in, is that have a timetable, right? So when you are small, right, you have this timetable. I'm going to get up at 8 in the morning, and I'm going to do, have my breakfast, and I'm going to work. So just have a timetable at home. That's really going to help you plan your day.
Absolutely. So go back to the questions. Okay, so we had this one I thought was important. My father has been going for these drives to donate. How can he be cautious?
Very, very, very important. He's doing a very good work. First of all, excellent that your father is thinking of doing these things, of donation. We've all read about the migrant workers.
No, I think it's great, but that being said, if your father is above the age of 60 or has any history of high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer or anything or any health issues, you have to be a little bit extra careful. At this time, we would recommend people above the age of 60 avoid going out as much as possible.
Yeah.
In case if he really still wants to go, I mean, it would be better if he still wants to go, then of course he should wear a mask. Now the data that is coming out is actually supporting that maybe wearing a mask might actually help you after all, and even if it gives you a protection of maybe 3 to 4 times of not wearing one, in this scenario, especially for your dad who comes in that category or in that age group, he should take those precautions of wearing a mask. He should still keep his social distancing, but the best way would be, let's follow the orders and let's kind of not go out.
Yeah. Some of the other things, one more thing is, there are all these agencies, all these NGOs, all these people who are coming up and saying, donate to us, give us this thing, give us some, donate to us, we will do all the charity. That may not be a bad idea also. I know the Prime Minister is doing it. All these other people are coming and doing this kind of charity. So, that's what it is. Yeah.
Right. So you want to take the next question?
Yeah, sure. So, how are doctors coping up? This is from Pratik again. Any special protection measures that you are taking since you interact with patients all the time? This is actually a very important thing that we as healthcare workers, and actually a lot of essential workers right now, first of all, we need to applaud and appreciate all the work that is being done by each and every essential worker, whether it's healthcare, whether it is the Safai Karamcharis, the security people, the cops, the nurses. Everybody is really coming up together, and they're really doing their part and contributing to this. So some of the things that we do is, we sanitize very nicely, sanitize our hands. We're wearing masks all the time. We actually have special clothes. When we go to the hospital, we have special clothes which we go in, and when we come back, we take those clothes and we leave them outside the house, and we sanitize those. We put them in detergent. Our shoes are also left outside the house. So just these simple precautions that we are doing. The social distancing.
Absolutely. I think as healthcare workers, what is very important is when we're taking care of these sick patients, that we try to use as much protective measures as we can and educate people. And of course, now there's a word about hydroxychloroquine and all those guidelines coming out for healthcare workers specifically. Specifically for healthcare workers, and people have to understand that the people who are recommended to take hydroxychloroquine, because I think everybody wants to take it, Samir, at this point. So just a point, taking away from the other questions before that, hydroxychloroquine has been approved for 2 groups of people. The first group are healthcare workers. Why healthcare workers? Because we are in close contact with possible COVID-19 positive patients, and that's the reason. There's some data to show that it might help, so that's why it's been recommended. The other group is people who are in very close contact with COVID positive patients, like family members. It might be recommended in them by the doctors. Remember, do not take hydroxychloroquine on your own. It does have major side effects. It can affect your heart, and as a cardiologist, you can give an idea on that. But I think the major thing is that it can affect your heart.
Yeah, it can cause QT prolongation, it can cause arrhythmias. So it has to be taken under the supervision of a healthcare provider. It's not something like the vitamin C tablet that we were talking about. You just pop it in and you're done. Don't do that with hydroxychloroquine. Talk to your doctor, see whether you actually need it. And it's actually not available right now.
Yeah.
It's not available in regular pharmacy, so you'll have to do something to try and get it. Let's move on to some other questions. There is so much panic around social media. What should one take? I think we already talked about mental health. What medicines are used for recovered patients?
So for recovery, so it's a viral infection, end of the day. And again, everybody needs to remember that 85, almost like 95% people actually recover, and 80% of the people are found to have very mild disease or no symptoms at all. So most of the symptoms that people have, they're treated with supportive care. Like for example, somebody has a fever, they can be given, a paracetamol to help, decrease the fever. If they're having cough, they might be given some kind of a cough medication. Drink lots of water, take rest. So very simple supportive care. It's only in very sick patients they might try like antivirals, like anti-HIV drugs or malaria drugs that they are used in Rajasthan.
But right now, none of these drugs are actually have proven to be very completely effective. You come here. Yeah, so none of these drugs are actually. There's no 100% guarantee these drugs are going to work. There are multiple trials which are going on across the world to try and see, are these drugs efficacious? How effective are they? So there is actually a trial by the WHO called the Solidarity trial that's going on, and they're actually looking at this very specific question, about hydroxychloroquine, and then there are all these other drugs also that are going on.
Interferon beta, HIV, anti-HIV drugs.
There are all being studied, and we're trying to see how effective are they really not, in fact, I think one of the anti-HIV drugs actually did not work out. It didn't pan out to be good. So we said, good, we have an answer, let's go to the next drug. Let's try and see what works.
But I think these trials are important because end of the day, we're dealing with lives, but if they're not used properly, we're seeing people dying of cardiac arrest too. So you don't know what kind of medication is causing what. So again, we would tell people, do not take anything on your own, because the next question is, people are taking anti-malarial in advance.
So I think we have just talked about that.
Yeah, exactly.
We just talked about that.
Yeah, so again, do not take these in advance.
Is consuming eggs safe? And I think somebody else also asked about chicken. Canned chicken.
Absolutely.
So this is from Aman. Hi Aman and hi Payal. Thank you so much for logging in. Chicken and eggs, I think they're actually absolutely fine. There's no data, there's no this thing. It didn't come from chicken, and anyway, you're not eating raw chicken, you're eating cooked chicken, and you're having cooked eggs. So, I don't think it should be much of an issue.
No, not much. I mean, there's no data at all that that you can get coronavirus from eggs or chicken. Just remember, whatever you eat, as Sameer said, you have to cook it very well. So you rather even a touch overcook it than undercook it, but you just cook it very well.
Actually, when you get the chicken from outside, it's going to come in a plastic bag, right? So make sure you take, whatever bag when you go to buy the chicken, clean it nicely. Clean it with soap and water, the plastic bag in which it's coming and stuff like that. So just to make sure that it's not, the virus, there's no virus outside it. That's very important to do.
Yeah.
That's what we are also doing when we go out to the market.
Absolutely.
You buy something, or you get something like a can of Coke, or whatever juice, a box of juice. So if you're getting it especially from outside, make sure you clean it nicely with soap and water, and then you use it.
Exactly. You can make some soapy water and use that to clean it, and I think that's a very simple way to ensure, and let it dry for like 10-15 minutes and then use the product. And anyhow, just make sure when you come in holding any of these bags that we washed, clean your hands properly.
So Divya Nair has asked a question, which I think somebody else also asked earlier.
Do you think that India would be able to lift the lockdown in 2 months like China did?
That's $1 million question.
Well, sorry. Just today, actually, the cabinet secretary said that they may not even extend the current lockdown. So at this point, I think we will have to go with what the government is saying. The lockdown is till April 14th, and I think it will stay till April 14th. Unless they plan to extend it, we'll know it only with time. But at this point, yes, till April 14th. And again, it makes sense to do a lockdown for 3 weeks. Because, Sameer, as we know, it takes up to, you see the results of the lockdown actually in 2-3 weeks. You don't get to know the effect of the lockdown right away.
In fact, one of the researchers in the US, he said this very good word. He said, you and I don't decide anything. It is the virus which decides when the lockdown is going to be lifted. So I think it's important to see how it goes over the next few weeks. What the numbers go, how good we are able to control everything.
Especially with the migrant labourer
that was
situation in India. It's that's I think been a big hit to India with that current situation. So let's see what happens. Unfortunately, right now we'll just have to take it a day at a time. And as Sameer quoted, it's the virus that makes the timeline.
I would like to say one thing. I don't think ever in the history of mankind there has ever been a stage where we have been dependent on each other for our well-being. For example, Divya is asking us a question, Nashita is asking us a question. Now I am dependent on Divya and Ashita, and they are dependent on me for our common well-being. Because if I don't follow the lockdown, if I don't take care of myself, then I can harbor the virus that I can potentially spread in the mall, I can go and spread it in the bus station, I can spread it at the airport. So I think it's very important for all of us to remember and be very cognizant of this fact that we are all dependent on each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Ashita has a question. Do we need to leave the groceries couriers for a day before touching it? No. So the cardboard, so we know in cardboard it can stay for up to 24 hours, and typically when you come in, you can get your groceries in, as Samir just mentioned, just make sure you wipe everything
Yeah.
down, leave it for 10 minutes, and then you can use it. Practically speaking, of course the cardboard that comes, if you're getting a package in a cardboard, throw the cardboard out and just take the products and just clean them. But of course it's not practical that everything can be left out. So I think don't be in that much of a panic as
Yeah.
well. Again, I think we're over panicking maybe. We just have to make sure, I'll just take a minute to explain, but why do we wash our hands?
It's that is very
Yeah,
important.
the
You guys
reason-
have to listen to this.
So it's not that by touching we are getting infected from our hands, not at all. The reason we wash our hands is whenever somebody coughs or sneezes, now you get these droplets that come out, and these harbor the virus. So it's, and that is what comes and settles down. So it might settle on this laptop, it might settle on the table, and now let us suppose I sneezed. The droplets came and they settled down. I did not cover my mouth the way I'm supposed to. I did not practice good cough etiquettes. And now Samir comes and he doesn't know and he touches that table. Right there, he might have touched the table and the fomite, so that virus comes on the hand. And then he takes his hand and doesn't wash it or clean it, and then he touches his eyes, nose, or mouth. Or a simple formula is MEN. Mouth, eyes, nose.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a very simple formula that you can remember. When you touch any of these areas, that's how the fomites can go actually inside and you can get infection. So that's the reason you have to wash your hands frequently, especially before you eat, especially when you touch anything. It's just better at this time that you sanitize your hands as much as possible.
So I think Divya asked another question. I have allergic bronchitis. Will I be? Let's see this. Yeah. Will I be more susceptible to catch the coronavirus or have worse symptoms if I do? So now, if you go and see who are the people who got really sick with COVID. So let me actually tell you something else before that. SARS-CoV-2 is the name of the virus. SARS-CoV is the name of the virus. It causes a disease which is called COVID-19. Just like HIV is the virus and AIDS is the disease, it's very similar to that. So when you get the SARS-CoV virus and you get supposing COVID-19, just for the sake of simplicity, the people who got really sick with COVID-19 were people who were elderly and who had underlying comorbidities, and those comorbidities were heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, chronic lung disease. Allergic bronchitis was not really one of them, because allergic bronchitis typically it goes to the upper airways, and the COVID-19 is primarily of the lungs, so it doesn't really translate into that. So just use common sense, use the same precautions we've talked about, hand hygiene, social distancing, and you should be good.
Yeah, at least again social distancing, and keep a distance of at least 3 to 6 feet. Even
Yeah.
for people who are in lockdown, try to keep as much distance as you can, especially the elderly. I think it's very important for the elderly at home that with them you keep that 3 feet of distance, because again 80% might just have a mild infection or maybe just be asymptomatic. So asymptomatic infection in one person might cause a severe
Yeah.
infection in an elderly person in your household.
Yeah.
So just for that reason, if nothing else, because you might not have any symptoms, but just for that particular reason, keep a minimum distance of 3 feet. If possible 6 feet, then that would be perfect. Otherwise, minimum try to keep a distance of 3 feet.
Yeah.
Himanshu has a question. Can a person infected with corona recover completely and be no more infectious?
So this is actually right now our recommendations are that if you have coronavirus and supposing you had a mild infection and then you became okay, then the recommendation is to keep yourself isolated for 7 days from where your symptoms started. So supposing your symptoms started on day number 10, so then you isolate yourself for 7 more days. Or if you've not recovered till then you add 48 hours after your symptoms have completely recovered. Now there are some studies which have come out that have found infectivity for a little bit longer, for I think more than
28 days.
up to 28 days. So I think we have to remember we've learned about this virus only 3 months ago. We did not know what it was before. So we are just learning about this virus.
Exactly.
Every day we are learning something new. Every day the guidelines change. Every day there's a new research that comes up. So that is why we promise to do this very often, to keep you guys updated, to keep everyone updated with this.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's what people need to know, that okay, so what precautions they have to take. But again, as Samir said, we are learning literally every day.
Every day.
Every day new studies coming out in one of the journals, and every day we are understanding what's going on. Payal had a very interesting question, which I think a lot of people are wondering. Will warm weather stop the outbreak of COVID-19? So, Payal, we wish and we hope, but at this point, we're seeing that COVID-19 has infected the entire world almost, right? All cities in whatever area they are and whatever region they are. So I think there's no connection now seen with warm weather. Let's hope maybe the weather of India might do something, but at this point we're seeing number of cases in Kerala where the temperature is already very warm and humid.
Yeah.
The fact that we are seeing cases over there is itself a sign in a way that maybe the temperature and is not going to play a role in this, and it's just time, and that's why taking full precaution.
And I think a lot of it is we're going to find out a lot about this as time goes on. In fact, there was Dr. Tony Fauci, who's one of the pioneers in this, actually said that as the summer is happening as the southern hemisphere is going into winter, the caseload is going up. Now, is that just chance? Is that because of we are picking it up now? Is that because what the reason is? We don't really know. So I think time will tell what the role of temperature is for this.
Absolutely. And next question is, can eating garlic, this is on Himanshu, can eating garlic prevent infection with the coronavirus?
Well, it will prevent, because there will be nobody who's going to come close to you, right? So they're all going to go away.
But on a lighter note, yes. But yeah, that being said, again, there's no harm. You can eat garlic. There's no data at all to show that that's going to prevent it in any way. But garlic again has some antioxidants that might just help build your immune system. That being said, that doesn't mean you take a truckload of garlic and suddenly you're just having garlic and garlic and garlic. So just have normal amounts of garlic, and again, eat healthy just in general. I think exercise, eat healthy. Even when you're at home, use YouTube. Get to a lot of exercises you can do even while you're indoors. Practice yoga, practice meditation. So I think there's no excuse. I think once the lockdown is over, then people will start whining again, oh, we don't have time because we're just so busy.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time, humans will probably appreciate going outdoors more, like I think never before ever.
The restaurants are going to be full, everything is going to be full.
Yeah.
But this is the time you can spend with your family, get your hobby, read your book which you wanted. Spend time with the family, maybe start painting or something, whatever it is you like.
We missed the question before that.
Actually, I would like to thank Chirag Upreti. Thank you so much for your comment.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Chirag. Sir, is there any relationship between UV rays and the coronavirus?
So this is kind of debated, right? We don't really know if UV rays, but what we can say is that UV rays can be used to sterilize things. We use UV technology to sterilize medical equipment. Now, but that UV ray, the radiation level of that UV rays is different compared to what you get from the sun. Right. So I don't think the sun UV rays have a real role to play, but we can utilize UV rays to to sterilize things in the hospital. And I'm certain, I'm not certain, but I think coronavirus would probably be dead with that.
We hope so, right? And I think as we'll get hopefully soon more data on that. But there has been some, I think, discussion on UV rays. So that was definitely a good question.
Yeah.
Payal has a question. One of my cousins has asthma. Is she more at a risk? So yeah, Payal, as we mentioned, I think there's this group of people who might have high blood pressure, diabetes, chronic lung issues like COPD, like chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which includes bronchitis, or people who might have asthma. Yes, they are more prone comparatively compared to other people, so they have to take more precautions. Again, general rules. What are the general rules? General rules are social distancing. Keep a distance of 3 feet to 6 feet at least, whenever you can, even when you're at home. Practice hand hygiene as much as possible. Every time you touch any surface, try to clean your hands. Use regular soap and water. and or you can use an alcohol sanitizer. Remember that has to have at least 70% of alcohol. Cough etiquette is very important. Whenever you cough, don't cough out in the open. Cough into a napkin or sneeze into a tissue and throw the tissue right away, or at least use your elbow. So this is a good technique of coughing into your elbow. That way at least you're not spreading the virus into the air. These are some of the techniques that you can use, and that way you can at least protect yourself. I think today was
good. Actually, you don't think that, should we take this last question?
Sure.
Divya Nair, do you think that spraying the migrant workers with chemical disinfectant was the right way to sterilize? Couldn't there be a better way to sterilize?
That was horrible.
Yeah, I really didn't follow that news too
So
closely.
basically what they took was these migrant workers in Bareilly, they made them sift together, and then they took this liquid with sodium hypochlorite, and they just sprayed it all over these people.
Yeah.
Which I think is just, no, I think what happened was very wrong. Now, it also shows the panic. So there are two ways to look at this point, right? Something or the other, something like this might happen when you have a population of 1.3 billion and things might go wrong. Not everybody goes at protocol, but what has happened is absolutely, I think, shocking. When I saw the video, I was completely shocked to see that they just made these people sit in line and spray. So that is not the right way.
I think you're right. It's all panic.
It's all panic.
We don't know what to do. I mean, the challenge is that we're on this massive lockdown. We have the ability and the potential to really to mitigate the virus, to really do a good job in controlling the spread. And here we have these 3 lakh people, 4 lakh people. I don't even know what the number is. There's lakhs of people who are going from one part of the country to the other part of the country and potentially getting the virus. Now everybody's scared, everybody's anxious. Nobody wants the virus to go into their town. So I think there's a lot of anxiety.
And I think one thing just to remember is the virus is inside
us. Yeah.
It's actually in your lungs, it's actually in your nasal, it's in your upper respiratory and lower respiratory tract. So by cleaning these people, by doing all this, what about the virus that is? If they cough and sneeze, all that is anyways going to go on everybody else. So I think the key, this was a big mistake, and I'm sorry, that something like this actually happened.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, so I think almost time. Should we just take
Vikram's question?
Vikram's question, yeah.
Vikram Pasricha has asked us a question. Let's see what he says. What were cities like Beijing and Shanghai, being so densely populated, not impacted exponentially like other larger cities in the US and other countries seeing now? That's a massive, that's a very I think that's really important. That's a very important thing to consider as to what happened. I think now Wuhan in Hubei province was the epicenter, and the second the government realized that this is happening, and people were already on vacation for this, so they really had a massive lockdown. Everybody nobody was able to travel, and we did not see the spike, right? So I think that was very, very important in curbing the virus, because people came home for the holidays but they never left.
Right.
So they were actually stuck in that places, in their place to do this, and I think that was one of the reasons. And the other thing was testing, right? Testing is very, very important. The government is actually, the WHO recommends test,
isolate.
So I think they tested very well. They quarantined all those people, and they caught it just in time. So I think that was one of the reasons as to why it did not spread the way it did in other places.
And in America, they're just not practicing, social distancing like the way they should. And I think people still somewhere are having a lax attitude. And just plead to everyone, please practice before we close our discussion today. Please practice social distancing.
If not you, then do it for your loved one, because as we've seen, I personally know at least 3 to 4 families where the one person in the family had it, and then the entire family got infected, like 5 people of a family, 4 people of a family. घर पे mother को हुआ तो father को हो गया, बच्चे को हो गया. I mean, it was just too much. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I think please practice social distancing. It's the least you can do for everyone. I think for planet Earth, for the world right now, at where the situation is. Right? So I think we'll be back again very soon, and we'll do another series.
Thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching this.
Thanks so much for watching.
If you have any questions, please message us.
Please message us and we'll get back.
Please message us and we'll get back to you. Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.